The death toll from a train derailment in Spain has risen to 80, and dozens are still being treated in area hospitals. And we're also getting a look at the moment the train went off the tracks. Peter Simmons has our report.
At high speed, the train turns into a bend and derails. Its cars thrown from the track. 247 people were on board. One passenger said it suddenly twisted at 9 p.m. local time. Carriages piled up, smoke pouring from the wreckage, a deadly fire as people tried to escape. Casualties were lifted through windows, carried away by first responders, as through the night, paramedics battled to help the injured. The bodies of those who didn't make it covered with blankets. Relatives left in tears by the crash site. The train from the country's capital, Madrid, coming off the rails just outside the city of Santiago de Compostela in northern Spain. It was the eve of a local festival. All celebrations were cancelled. Instead, people gathered to donate blood. According to witnesses at local hospitals, many of the dead were yet to be identified. Some reports say the train was travelling at twice the speed limit, its cars derailing on a bend. So far, officials believe it was an accident, one of Europe's worst ever train disasters. And the driver of the train is now under investigation. Back to you.
Despite the tragedy of the accident in Spain, high-speed lines are statistically safer than conventional tracks. For example, France's high-speed lines have carried 2 billion passengers since 1981 and have had 0 fatalities. Over the past 2 decades, Spain has invested in Europe's most modern and extensive network of high-speed trains. But the train involved in Wednesday's accident was not a high-speed train, but it did have a top speed of 250 kilometers an hour. Although rail travel is statistically safer than many other forms of transportation, when accidents do happen, they often result in a serious loss of life. 40 people died when a high-speed train collided with a stationary train in China in July 2011 and left some 200 people injured. Joining me now to talk more about safety on high-speed trains is Gus Ubaldi, an airport and railroad engineering expert with Robson Forensic. Gus, welcome to the show.
Good to be with you.
You know, this investigation is still ongoing, but based on what you've seen of the case and, of course, that horrific video, do you think this accident was caused by operator error or a mechanical malfunction?
Well, it's difficult to tell. The operator has said that he was overspeeding, at least that's his statement. So that's a piece of information that I put in my back pocket, but it's only one piece of information. These particular trains are designed with a passive tilting feature to allow them to go around track faster than the ordinary train. Some passengers said they felt the vibration before the train went off the track. These trains also have a dual gauge capability. That is, the wheels can be adjusted to ride on track where the rails are different distances apart. So all those things could have happened. Any derailment investigation is going to start with where did the train go off? What was going on? Was it operation? Was it mechanical? Was it the track?
Well, you talked about some of the features, but is there any kind of equipment or safety controls that can prevent trains from going past a certain speed, or any kind of other pieces of equipment that will prevent a train from going off the tracks?
Well, normally in high-speed situations, you have a cab signal system, signaling system that will cause the operator to have to slow his train down, or the system will do it for him. And since the operator is still alive, we haven't had any sort of catastrophic medical problem with the operator. Why didn't the operator slow the train down? He had to know that he had to be going slower around that curve if that indeed was the case. So there are things that he could have done with the train. So there's many, many questions to be answered as to if it was overspeeding, why was it overspeeding, why didn't either the operator or the systems take care of it?
You know, we see this crash, but obviously high-speed rail is the future of transportation in many countries there in Europe. and especially in Asia. So is it safe, and are high-speed trains meant to go around curves? I think a lot of people normally assume that they're meant for straightaways.
No, they're actually not. And you can design curves by making them not sharp enough or installing what's called super elevation. Just like a racetrack has banked turns, you will bank the railroad track to allow the center of gravity to move in so that you don't have these kinds of situations. And because you're traveling at higher speeds, your inspection requirements are more rigid, more frequent. The tolerances for maintenance are tighter. Signal systems, more sophisticated systems will be used on higher speed rail than on lower speed rail. So I would say that they're less likely to derail.
All right, Gus Ubaldi from Robson Forensic, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us from Cleveland, Ohio.